Got a plan? It's such a simple question, but the answer? Well, the answer can define pretty much everything. We all have them. That little spark of an idea, right? Or that one big goal that kind of keeps you up at night. But what is it that separates a daydream from, a real tangible achievement? What's the secret sauce that turns a dream into reality? All right, let's get into it. So, where does it all start? Well, it always begins with that first moment of inspiration, doesn't it? It's that entrepreneurial spark, the thing that really ignites the whole journey, taking you from just a dream to something you can actually touch and feel. And to really get a handle on this, let's look at a real story. It kicks off with this incredibly powerful thought. I've thought of having my own business since I was a child. Now, for the person in our case study, Carlos, this wasn't just some phase he was going through. No way. This was core to who he was. In this timeline, wow, it just goes to show you that success really is a marathon, not a sprint. I mean, just look at this journey. At 10 years old, he's already hustling, selling comic books to buy his first camera. Then you've got a whole decade, 10 years, of pure dedication to his project. And the payoff? Today, he's running a company with 2 offices, helping other people launch their businesses. That's an incredible arc, right? From a kid's idea to a seriously thriving company. And here's what's so important about this. His motivation? It goes way beyond just making money. His actual life mission is to help other people make their dreams come true. And that's something you see over and over again. A truly great plan is almost always fueled by a purpose that's bigger than just one person. Okay, so you've got the spark, you've got the passion, but how do you actually turn all that fire into something real? You need a blueprint, right? A set of instructions. And that brings us perfectly to our next section, finding a smarter way to plan by using the right tools to make that change happen. I mean, think about it like this. A master carpenter wouldn't even think about starting a project without their tools, right? It's the exact same idea here. Every single good plan needs a solid framework to give it some shape, some real strength. And probably one of the most powerful tools in that toolbox is what we call the SMART goals framework. This thing is a game changer. It's the system that takes those vague, fuzzy ambitions and turns them into a concrete, totally actionable plan, just by making sure your goals check 5 specific boxes. All right, so let's break this down. S is for specific. So instead of something vague like, I want to get in shape, you say, I'm going to run a 5K. M is for measurable. How are you going to track it? I'll run 3 times a week. A is for achievable. Is running a 5K in 3 months actually possible? Yeah, for most people, for sure. R is for realistic. Like, do you actually have the time to train? Got a decent pair of shoes? And finally, T is for time-bound. Put a deadline on it. I will run the City 5K on September 1st. See the difference? Now that is a real plan. So the takeaway here is that this framework does 2 things just perfectly. It gives your dream a roadmap, a clear path to follow, and it gives it a deadline, something to aim for. Honestly, it's the real difference between just wishing for something and actually doing it. But let's be real for a second. No plan, no roadmap is perfect. You're going to hit detours, you're going to hit roadblocks. It's just going to happen. So what do you do when things go wrong? Let's talk about how to navigate that frustration that's bound to pop up. Because honestly, even with the most perfect, most thought out, smartest goal in the world, life happens. Reality has a funny way of just jumping in. And yeah, even the best laid plans can lead to moments where you're just totally, completely dissatisfied. And I think we've all been there, right? Picture this. You've been trying to get in touch with a company for 6 months about an issue. You finally get an email back, and it says your return policy has expired. So they tell you to fill out some form online, and then nothing. Crickets. You follow up for 3 solid weeks, and the excuse is always the same. The manager is extremely busy. It's absolutely maddening. And all of that frustration, that feeling of just being completely ignored and powerless, it all just boils down to this one raw emotion. It's a disgrace. But here's where we need to shift our thinking a little bit. Getting past these roadblocks, it isn't just about venting or complaining. It's really about learning how to advocate for your plan, how to fight for what's right, and how to push and push and push to get things back on track. And that whole idea, advocating for your plan, it brings us to a much deeper truth. Planning isn't just about to-do lists and deadlines. It's about people, which leads us right into our final section, the plan for people. And here, we're going to look at overcoming setbacks, not just the external ones, but as you'll see, the internal ones too. You see, a plan that actually works is so much more than just a to-do list. It has to account for the real costs. And I'm not just talking about time and money. I'm talking about the emotional toll it takes on you, the sheer amount of effort you have to put in, and, this is a big one, the help or participation of other people. Because, let's face it, sometimes the biggest obstacle in your way isn't some company with terrible customer service. It's not a lack of money or resources. Sometimes the biggest thing standing in your way is internal. It's you. Let's take the story of Ben from our source material. He starts having panic attacks. And a panic attack, just so we're all on the same page, is this sudden, intense wave of fear. It triggers some pretty severe physical reactions, even when there's absolutely no real danger around. It's a really powerful reminder that our own internal state can completely derail even the most perfect external plan. So what's the plan then? Well, first you've got to identify the problem. Be really clear about what's going on. Then comes the most crucial step of all. Seek professional help. Talk to a doctor. And from there, you can start to put together a real plan for recovery. And you know what? You can even apply that same SMART framework we talked about to your own well-being to create achievable, time-bound goals for getting better. So when you look at everything, from Carlos's decade of dedication to Ben's journey to recovery, it all teaches us one really important thing. The strongest plans, they're not the ones that are perfect right out of the gate. Not at all. They're the ones built on a solid foundation of personal resilience and a strong network of support. So we've gone from the tiny spark of a childhood dream to the tools you need to build it and the resilience it takes to actually see it through. And that leaves us with just one final question. And this one, well, this one's for you. So, what's your next move?